Welcome everybody to the Heart Coherence Challenge. This is our sixth one. Is that real? I'm not even sure, but we're so excited to have Lisa Natoli on. You were sort of famous to me because when I started studying A Course in Miracles, you were one of the main teachers. So I feel just immensely excited and blessed to actually be talking to you.
And I am so grateful. Lisa's a good friend. She's been a mentor. Same thing with A Course in Miracles, but she allowed me to take some of her programs, and they were incredibly transformational to me. And they allowed me to get in touch with stillness and this moment like I'd never before imagined. And a lot of magical things happened during that time. So thank you, Lisa. Lisa Natoli teaches healing as a natural ability that can be learned by anyone. She's a teacher of A Course in Miracles, as well as non-duality, Advaita Vedanta, in the tradition of, I know why you wanted me to read the Bible, Atmananda Krishna Menon.
That's it.
Lisa has been studying the healing topics of health, healing, awakening, and the mind-body connection for over 30 years. And she recently became a heart math certified trainer, just like Leah and I. So welcome, Lisa Natoli. We're so grateful.
Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. I love what you're doing. It's amazing to have that 30-day heart coherence challenge. And I just love heart math. And, to me, when I first took heart math, when I had no idea like even what heart math was, and I met Shavakar, and I get chills just now when I say her name. Like, I watched her in literally like under 5 minutes change an entire group's experience on Zoom. I was like, who's this lady? Heart math? What's heart math? And then I actually became a heart math certified trainer, just like you both are. I didn't know what I signed up for. I literally was like, I didn't have an interest as like a business or anything. I just wanted to be near Shiva, and I wanted to learn what is this? Like what? And then when you're in the training and you start learning about the science, the actual science of what happens when you come into the present moment and still yourself, just the different chemicals that get released and stopped. So anyways, I'm just so happy to be here and just really love what you guys are doing.
Thank you, Lisa. Why don't we do that? Let's dive into this moment in the stillness through the heart portal. So if everyone could focus your attention in the air of your heart, you can put your hand on your heart if it helps. And imagine that your breath is flowing in and out of your heart, your chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Try a pace of 5 seconds on the in-breath, 5 seconds on the out-breath, in and out through the heart. And as you're breathing in and out through your heart, I want you to think about someone or something in your life that you really appreciate. Just really feel that appreciation as you breathe in and out through your heart.
And still breathing in and out of your heart, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Call to mind a place that you feel really relaxed and comfortable in. It could be thinking about sitting on the beach. It could be laying in your bed and it's raining outside, or a comfortable chair you have. Really feel that feeling as you breathe in and out of your heart.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us. We're excited to hear what you have to say on your journey with the heart and emotions.
Yeah, I just love this topic, and for me, whenever I have a chance to speak to an audience, I know there's a whole big range of levels of understanding. Some people have no spiritual background and they're just in an emotional space. They're experiencing grief or sadness or anger or worry, or and then there's levels of people who've been on a spiritual path for a while. They understand about consciousness, they understand about oneness, they understand about presence. So, and I always try to find a place where kind of everybody can hear something, and because that's really the only thing that matters. Like when we're in a state, it's just fear and worry, and I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, and somebody just unexpectedly passed, or you lost a pet, or whatever it is. And so to me, the heart math practices are the starting point to me for everyone. Like it's the place where when someone is experiencing that turmoil and that just emotions flying, and you feel it, you feel like I don't know what to do, and then bring yourself to that moment of presence. Really come into the present moment. I always like to bring really back into like being aware of the sensations. Feel the chair, feel your legs on the floor. Just come back into this moment, because what almost all humans do is live in the head. We live in like, how can I change this problem? How can I fix this? How can this be different? So we're in the past or the future. And so what a heart math practice does is really brings the awareness back to the present moment. And so that's the first thing. And for me, like when I took the training, it was for the science. Like I had already been on a spiritual path for 30 something years with A Course in Miracles. I studied the Bible and metaphysics of it. I was all my books, those are like the remaining ones. I give so many books to Goodwill. I'll buy books, I'll read them. I was sort of self-help junkie back in my 20s, and transformation, and but to come to this place when I really began to recognize there is a connection between what we see out in the world and what's happening here, and that there's a connection between the mind and the body. So chills just now. Like, so you actually can become, each and every one of us can become aware of the sensations, goosebumps, or heart pounding, or sweating, or like notice when it getting into the mind. And then when I took the heart math training is when, like the one thing that was just like, oh my God, is that whole idea that when we live in fight or flight or freeze, you are literally cascading stress hormones and cortisol to the system. And the body is able to handle those hormones for short term, but the body can't handle these chemicals chronically, long term. And so most people live in chronic stress, chronic anxiety, chronic anger, and then they distract themselves a little to try to feel better, but they never actually take the time to check in and say, is there a way that I could actually stop this cascading of cortisol, which wrecking the system? It's literally wrecking your organs. It messes with the bloodstream, it messes with the heart rate. Heart Math has done all these studies, as you know, but for anyone who's listening, with real people, firemen, policemen, and they can actually track what your heart is doing. And so let's just say, like, I remember there was this one with this couple had a fight, and they were tracking like the instant spike in the heart rate, and then they tracked when the fight ended, and the heart rates remained high. It remains still this like, and we all know that feeling, right? So how do we come back into coherence? So the heart math is this lovely wave, when we come back into this peace and stillness and presence. And then the second part, which is what you both did in the meditation, is then accessing how to begin generating other chemicals. So now we're getting into the endorphins, which is the happiness, which is the appreciation, which is the gratitude. So that's science. And everybody I know everybody can experience it directly. And the one part for me that was super frustrating over the years is the whole self-help positivity movement. So just be happy. You just got to be happy. You just got to have a higher vibration. You just got to vibrate higher. You just got to, stop being sad. And I would try to do that. I would try to just be happy, to just be grateful, but it didn't stick. It didn't ever last. And I was always going like, well, how does that work? How does one go from sadness to happiness? How do we make it stick? So that's really been kind of my journey, has really been one of curiosity. It's been a journey of hearing about these ideas and then kind of following these teachers, these teachers and these practices that I thought, oh, that's interesting, like that we can actually change our experience.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is the thing that was really appealing initially, because I always am looking for the how, like okay, this is the instruction, but how do you actually do it? Like, just like you were saying. So I know you were going to talk about some different things with emotion and emotional regulation, and to give people a little bit more of that how.
Yeah. So, like for me, um, when I really began recognizing that I could do inner investigation, so that's when I was with A Course in Miracles for 30 years. I still love it totally, but I felt like I had done everything I could, and I came to this place in my life when I just felt like I can't go any further with this teaching. Like I knew there was more. We hear know thyself and awakening and transformation and enlightenment, and I thought, okay, I've had these moments and glimpses of happiness and joy, and a whole lot of things changed in my life. Alcoholism fell away 22 years ago now. Like it just, after 5 years of struggling to stop drinking, constantly saying I'm not going to drink anymore, and I'm not going to smoke cigarettes anymore, and I don't want to drink, I don't want to smoke. And I would make these huge declarations, and I'd pour vodka down the drain, and I'd rip my cigarettes up and douse them in water because I knew if I throw them in the trash, I'll go digging for them an hour later. And there was 5 years of that. 5 years of saying I don't want to drink and smoke, and then drinking and smoking. And so it's kind of like Paul in the Bible, where he says, I do the things I don't want to do, and I don't do the things I do want to do. That's the human condition. It's like totally insane. Again, we don't see it really. We just keep on the rabbit wheel, like this cycle. And so I had amazing things happen to me with my practice of A Course in Miracles. have not wanted to pick up, not even a desire for alcohol or cigarettes in 22 years. It just like disappeared. And then I started noticing that I didn't get angry so much, and that I wasn't sad so much, and that I wasn't. So it was almost like the percentages changed. I guess that's how it was. Almost like I was a certain percentage of worried and overwhelmed. And with the spiritual practices, I kind of, that started getting less and less, and I started trusting more and feeling happier. But I got to this point where I'm like, there's more, and I don't know how to access it. And then I got really sick with what the doctors called an incurable autoimmune condition in 2012, and spent thousands of dollars trying to heal it. Nothing was working, and then I tried the diet, the supplements, the spiritual practices, meditation. I mean, I was doing everything to try to change the condition and my experience. Now, we don't see that activity. It's an interesting thing because everyone's just like, oh yeah, of course I don't want pain. Who wants pain? Who wants to have symptoms? And many people never pause and simply begin to investigate that thing that's talking to you, that's the boss of you, that's just constantly talking to us. How did you cause this? Why did I do this? How, spiritual things with sickness, it's gone all like, you caused this, you caused your cancer, you did it to yourself. And then of course there's so much out there that says you can undo it. So now people feel like a failure because now it's like you're not healing, you're doing everything that you're reading about, and nothing's working. And so I literally did everything, okay? And I would say I'm not a body, I'm whole and perfect, I'm healed, just the usual things. And finally, in October 2018, my husband Bill, during the worst symptoms ever, it was like the worst experience in pain. I just could find no relief, and I was on the phone with him. He was at a Rupert Spira retreat in New York. And Rupert Spira is a non-duality teacher, and Rupert had just been speaking that morning about welcoming. So I'm on the phone with Bill, and I'm saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I just don't know. He goes, can you welcome it? And it must have been my time, because something like woke up in me. Like when he said that, that was one thing I hadn't done. Like I had never just welcomed the symptoms and the pain and just welcomed it. And he said, can you be okay with it and even love it, even if it never goes away? And it's interesting for me to kind of look at the timing of the alcohol resistance, which was 5 years, and the resistance to the sickness, which was 5 or 6 years. So it was like this, it's like I repeated a cycle with different things, where for 5 or 6 or 7 years, I kept trying to heal sickness, get rid of symptoms, minimize pain. And the thing that happened to me with the alcohol and the cigarettes was exactly the same process with the sickness. With the alcohol, at the end of 5 years of fighting myself, and constant inner battles, you're such a failure. You said you were going to quit and you didn't quit. You don't want to drink, but you're drinking. 5 years of feeling bad about myself and just feeling like I'm just doing it wrong. I just said, you know what? I'm just going to drink when I feel like it. You know what? I'm just gonna like, and I didn't have a spiritual practice like I did with, you know, coming in later years, but I was just this moment of like, I'm just not gonna, I'm just not gonna fight myself anymore. And then of course I was like, I think I was at the time like 32. It was in 2000 and no, I was 31 maybe. It was in 2001, I think. I was living in New York, and I was single, and I at the time was like, well, I'm just an alcoholic, I'm just a drunk, and I just guess I'm just gonna grow old and die alone and be single, and oh well. Like it was sort of kind of had that sort of victim feeling to it, but it actually worked because I didn't know it back then. And I actually have to say, I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I want to say for the people who are hearing this that if you want to quit drinking, I don't know why it didn't occur to me back then to go to Alcoholics Anonymous, but I think it's because I was like, oh, I can do this on my own. And so I, I didn't go that route, but it's an awesome program. So I want to do say that. But within a very short period of time of just being okay with everything as it is, I stopped fighting myself. I'm not kidding. It was like within just like a month or two when I just stopped drinking. I just stopped smoking cigarettes and I didn't even know I quit smoking until a little bit later. I was like, "Oh wow, I haven't even thought about it." So the same thing happened with when Bill said that with the welcoming is that like I felt myself totally relaxed like, "Oh, yeah, right. Am I going to spend 5, 6, 7, 10 more years of my life doing what I just did for the past 5 years, fighting myself and feeling bad because I caused this sickness? And no, no, like, and so for me, I really, and I had been hiding also. I had been hiding the sickness because I didn't want anyone to know. And so my first thing was to start, I just said, okay, you guys, here's where I've been for the last 5 years. You know, just kind of, I just outed myself. And out of that is when I started looking at the non-duality teachings. I was like welcoming. What do the non-dual teachers say? And their language is consciousness. So and awareness. So after that happened in October 2018, my practice became to be the awareness. So it's kind of like let's just say there's a sickness or an emotion. There's something going on in someone's life right now. I'm sick, I'm sad, I'm afraid, I'm angry. And we're so tied, the I am is so mixed in with the emotion that you are the sadness, the sickness, the guilt, the anger, whatever it is. The non-dual teaching is that you give a space, and that's the pause of heart math. Like you come back into the present, and now you're aware of the emotion, the voice in your head, the sensations, the pain. So for many people, it's just I'm in pain. The I has become the pain, and now all you experience is pain. So when you have that moment of, okay, bring yourself back, come back, and you allow a space where you become the observer of the observed. So now there was like this, it took me a long time to get it, like to really say, okay, I'm not the sickness and this incurable disease. I am aware of, and that might seem really weird for people because, you know, it sure seems like it, but I kept practicing. And the thing I've really come to know as my own personal experience is that observer, the stillness, I call it a live stillness. So it's not like meditation. You're not trying to, because only the person wants to try to get rid of something. So it's only the person who's sick, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm whatever, is trying to meditate to get a different experience. It's still the personal self identity. You're never going to get out. So it's when you can begin to see that, like, why am I meditating? Why am I doing this practice? Because the self doesn't need to meditate. It doesn't need a practice. The self, which we are, which is pure consciousness and pure changelessness, is already free. It's never sick. It never dies. It was never born. It doesn't experience pain. And so these ideas, I get it, are like a little way out there at first. But when I started to practice and I started to live as the observer of the Lisa experience, I started to feel that it really is the presence and the power of God. You know, it's that this practice is, it's a vibration. Like it's literally an energy field. It's that alive stillness is staying present to all that activity, mind activity, body activity, and it was like I had a different experience than some of the awakening experiences I read about. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I had this, oh yeah, I woke up. I can't tell you when it was. I can't tell you the moment when I know what the self is. It happens so gradually and so naturally. And it's been a joy. You know, I want everyone to experience this. Like, I want everyone to know that whatever condition you're in, or whatever your emotional experience is that it's available to all of us to begin to make inner investigation like the number one priority. Because as soon as this is to just get back to what you just said, Leah, is like the patterns that you begin to see when you are in stillness. So I actually could see in observation all the ways that Lisa froze, fight, or flight, you know, all the heart math stuff. Like you actually begin to see your patterns. And you can actually take it back to your childhood if you want. Like, you don't have to. It's not therapy. But I actually saw that when I was in the third grade, like before the third grade, I was just this happy, joyful, spontaneous, active child, just free and happy. And then when you get in school, that consciousness, that spontaneity and joy hits experiences. So I'll give you like an example. Let's just say when each of us was a little child, you know, someone gave us a box of crayons, paint, chalk, and we were so happy, right? Or you saw someone singing on the television and you were like, oh my God, and you start singing like at the top of your lungs. And so the consciousness is totally free. It's just totally openness, open, spacious. And you don't even know you're a body, right? When you're painting, you're just so happy. It's just chaotic and fun. And then you show it to someone. You show your painting to someone, your drawing. And that spaciousness might hit an event. So your parent might say, "Oh, that's not, you know, oh, that's good, but you know, you're supposed to color in the lines here, or the dog's not supposed to be blue." Or like you go singing at the top of your lungs, and your mother or father says, you're a terrible singer. Stop singing. So pure consciousness, which is what we are, starts caving in on itself and limits itself to the body identification, and we start learning patterns. So the pattern of what's good and what's not good, what's acceptable and not acceptable. And so over time, if you continue to repeat a pattern chronically, so let's just say you keep singing. Consciousness is just so happy singing that you didn't kind of get the message the first time to be quiet. You come back in the room again, and the parent says, I told you to be quiet. Consciousness caves in on itself again. So it's limiting itself. And so we all have these experiences, and we all have them in different ways. But the more that each one of us, and don't blame anybody, your parents are not to blame, nothing needed to be different. But for everyone who really wants to go through a transformation, is that you can begin to, in observation with that space, observe how that pattern that started way back when still repeats itself. So my pattern was, in just one category, was I just had a very fast, active mind. I love learning. I always had my hand up. I loved engaging with the class and interacting. Oh, that's enough, Lisa. Stop talking. Give the others a chance. And then I started getting bullied by my classmates. You're a show off. You're self-centered. You're a know-it-all. You think you're so great. So that aliveness starts to hit those experiences that we all have in life, and now it lives as the limitation. So you start, see now my hands, that's the observer, that's the consciousness. This is the I that calls itself by our name, and we live as the limitation. So now in the stillness, how the energy can start becoming more spacious again, back into what it is in its whole space. And so I find, I just said a lot that might have been confusing for people, but I find that that stillness, that's the whole thing. I really believe that in presence, when we can get out of our head, we can be aware of all the mind activity, all the judgments that the mind has about ourselves. Shouldn't have done that. You're so gross. You're so whatever that analyzer, the critic. I mean, we have this thing in our head. It's not in our head, but that's how most people think of it, and it just talks all day long. You're not good enough. You should have done this. If only you had done this. And when you can just sink back down into the heart, sink back into presence. Okay, let me be still. That, I don't know how it works, but I will say that that's an energy field. That is the energy field of God. It's the energy field of pure consciousness. And it's available to all of us. And so, like, bringing it back to heart math, when someone is incoherent and the energy fields are all, just scattered, it's a way that these energy fields come back. And when they come back coherent. So it's brilliant, it's just like nobody needs to suffer. And I know that sounds like a bold thing to say, but and the way I teach is that um, the awakening doesn't mean that life stops for you. I still I still have loads of things that come out of nowhere for me. Um, and surprise me, or somebody tells me something that's someone died, someone has a cancer diagnosis, whatever. So, but now I have a practice of presence where no matter what happens now, I know that I can be still, and I know that I can meet whatever it is and not get sucked into it anymore. So it doesn't grab me and kind of pull me anymore. It's just, so I'm someone who, because of A Course in Miracles, I was one of the ones that was like, oh, you're supposed to always be happy. And that's, now I don't believe that at all, because now every emotion is total consciousness. So when you feel sad, perfect. Perfect. Like that's pure, that's not, it's not bad. Someone told you it was bad when you were a little kid, and boom, oh, sadness is bad. When you start opening back up again and you recognize it's all just energy, it's not bad. It's just let it be. The Beatles were right on track with that. Just let every emotion be and watch the mind trying to change it. That's the practice. So just to really see, like, oh, I shouldn't be sad. That's what you want to see, the I shouldn't be sad part. Don't look at the I got to get rid of this. Look at the thought I should get rid of this. And in that, the self just starts to come back. It's always here in everyone. It's always the light that we are, that everyone listening is. It gets so buried under our patterns, conditioning, and habits that now when you take a journey like this, and I love the idea of 30 days, like I love having a time frame like the both of you offer, where people can start to say, okay, I'm doing this. I could talk all day.
No, to be honest with you, I don't think there's anything I could ask I could add to that. I feel so complete.
That was great.
That was amazing. I think really I want to know more about how um our followers can get in touch with your teachings. What are you offering right now in regards to this expressing itself?
Yeah, thank you so much. I have a website. It's lisanatoli.com. And in 2023, I'm offering 4 different 6-week classes. So depending on when someone hears this, the first one is emotional mastery, and that one's will be in recordings. So I'm doing them live for 6 weeks. And then once the live is over, then it will go into recordings. But then I'm doing one on manifesting, true manifesting, and that one's in May. And then relationships and relationship mastery. And then the final one is mind body mastery. So I'm doing kind of the 4 different topics: emotional mastery, true manifesting, um, relationships, and mind body, that are just near and dear to my heart. So um, yeah, and then there's just different things. I have an events page, just different things I do along the way. And there is a documentary coming out, I want to say. It's
Come on.
Awakening Mind. Yeah, that's going to be exciting. So that's going to come out soon. That's still in the works. But I really just feel like that this is a whole new time for the world. It really is. Like, awakening is the next step in human consciousness. It's for people to recognize that this is what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're really here to wake up to what we really are, to wake up to our eternal, infinite nature and know it. And, I'll just say briefly, I always thought awakening was going to be this like moment, because we hear all about it. Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle, they all tell these awesome stories of this moment in time, and life just totally overnight changed. And because that wasn't my way, I see now that we all have experienced already the true self. We've all had these moments of joy and happiness. That is the totality of awakening. And so the part that's been important for me the last few years is becoming established in it. So it's not this fleeting thing anymore, where it's like happiness and then I lose it and I'm back to those old emotions, and oh, now I'm at peace again, and now I'm how to become established in peace and joy and happiness, which is our true nature. And so it's been messy. It's been, kind of for a while, it's just like, am I ever going to be established in it? And then all of a sudden it's like you're riding the bike, right? You're just, am I ever going to ride this thing? And then the moment when you just started riding without the training wheels, it's just like, oh, of course I know how to ride a bike. So it's like that.
Yeah, just listening to this is in direct alignment with where we're at. I'm going to be looking into your courses. I'm excited to take the relationship mastery one, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
And everybody take Lisa's courses. They have had a profound impact on me, and Lisa is just awesome. So we hope to do this again with you, Lisa. You've been actually a true mentor to me. Like you're somebody I've watched, kind of like you were talking about Sheva, like how you just wanted to be with that person. That was me. I was like, this lady is living it. I just want to do whatever she's doing, and that's it. So
Yeah. Thank you so much. I feel the same way about you too. It's just been so good for me to watch what you're doing and to offer what you're doing to reach so many different people. I just love it.
thank you.
Thank you. We'll do it again. And we're sending love to everybody.
Yes, thank you. That was amazing.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.